Folks, you might hear that we're getting a really good rain. We needed some water, but this morning before it started raining, I went out and dug around, looked at about a couple hundred rocks. I didn't pick them up. I just dug them around and looked at them, and then scanned through them and picked up the one that I thought was interesting or had patterns that I recognized. And this is how many rocks I took the water hose out of 200. There's a dozen or so here. I will probably go back and look at the others, especially after they get rained on. But these right here are not reject. They're just going to go into different piles. They had some school stuff on them, things that I recognize. For instance, this sort of a heart-shaped stone that has a type of a 3-point pyramid on it. I'll put that in the pyramid box, and then we'll talk about those sometime in a video all by themselves and the images that are on them. And these are all that way. Some of them, when I clean them up later, I'll probably go, wow, I should have cleaned that one up. But anyway, can't clean them all up all the time. But these are the ones that I chose to take to the salt, sand, and soap so I can take all this dirt off from them. And here's why. This one has, well, it has that core look. Tools have been sliced from it, and it has this shallow little bowl right there. And that peak is such a way that it could be shoved down into ashes or dirt or something. Now, I don't know about that shoved in ashes stuff because I'm not sure what this would be used for, but it's a little shallow bowl, and it definitely is a core. So that one's going to get cleaned up. This one, this one just because it's a tiny little core, a stone that has, maybe it started out as a small stone, but they sliced it up to that point. And I have one of these that have a bull painted on it. So I grab these always and clean them up. I'm getting quite a pile, but I've not found any other really awesome image except that bull so far. This one I picked it up because I could see this obvious dull blade, but that was a sharp blade at one time, and it shows abrasion on that end, and it has that slice of stone look. So this is definitely a tool, and it appears to have images on it. So it'll get cleaned up and looked at again. This one is, well, it's a drill. That three blade, anyway, it's a drill. Other than that, it looks like it's all images or something because there's no other tool use that I can see. There's kind of a little scraper right there. That could have been a little scraper right there. But we'll know later. This one, tool use, was right here. This cortex is softer right through here, or it looks like it has more wear on it. So, and it has the right little diameter of a small crescent abrasion tool, not cutting, abrasion. And it looks like it could have stuff on it. Images on it. I usually do find an image if something is perched up like that on top of a mountain. I can usually find its eyes and mouth, and we'll look for that one. This one was definitely a worked sharp edge. It's dull now, but it has that Uniface tool method design with some napping, possibly to resharpen it. And it's held really well, just like that, as a scraper. Not sure why they'd want a sawtooth look, but this very likely has some images on it too. And Yeah, these are the interesting ones. These are cool. They even got images on them, but these are more cool. And that's a little cutting edge right there. It's held really comfortable for a scraper, but that has a little edge as a that type of tool. And it shows the splitting process where they make divots down through the stone, then hit it and get slices off from it. Definitely a Uniface tool. I'm always looking for an elephant. If I can find an elephant or a horse, really, then I know it's, I think, anyway, before those animals became extinct, which puts these tools back 10,000 plus years old. Anyway, that's my thoughts. And there's a little cutting tool right there. Held comfortable. A scraping tool. A lot of these scraping tools are in a crescent shape. You'll notice that there's a lot of red tint on these stones. That's because this is below the dirt, the dark dirt around here. Not very far below it either. 2 feet maybe or so, a little bit more sometimes. It's red clay, and there's a lot of flint or chert. Well, there's a layer here on this hill that's solid chert, which probably made it so desirable to come and make tools out of this stuff. But that's what they look like before I start cleaning them. And I'll get back to this in just a little bit after I've cleaned these. This part will take maybe a couple hours. This is where I cleaned them. And I'm going to clean these right here and listen to the rain. These 9 pieces I've cleaned up. This is that little core. This is a scraping tool. This is also a scraping or an abrasion crescent right there. This is a drill. And this is that little pyramid heart shape. Okay, those 5 are cool, but these 4 are the keeper. Well, they're all keepers, but these 4 right here. Oh, I'm not moving my camera. Okay, this has a sawtooth edge. And I believe this is a saw. I think it's a saw. So that one. And I think this is also a saw. It's held real well right there. I guess it could be scraper too, but it has a saw edge. Saw blade edge. This is a cutting edge crescent. And there's abrasion used down here And on this side it shows the abrasion use runs up to here and along here. That's how much that Gore-Tex is worn down. And if it's held just like this, it would be that type of sanding tool. It has this blade. And this little pyramid shape has a shallow bowl right there. So, 4 pieces, 4 tools. Folks, I found something really interesting about triangle-shaped pieces of stone. Their purpose, or their use mostly, and the images that are on them. But that's not what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about cores. And cores are basically the heart of the stone. There's slices made from them. See, they were larger rock to start with, and the slices that comes off to get them down to where these folks want to make sharp edge tools. Well, not necessarily all just sharp edge. There's gravers, and but mostly it seems sharp edge. Before they get to this core position or heart of the stone, there's all kinds of tools made from the Gore-Tex that they're slicing from that piece. And these are workable cores, which other tools can be taken from. But I consider them the heart of the stone. One of the reasons is that some of the heart stones that I find look just like they're a small core. They're just used down to the point where they can be called a heart stone. And these large cores are sliced down to smaller cores. They get smaller and smaller and smaller, but they're still being used. This is a core. It shows that tools can still be sliced from it. I think any flint knapper would agree with me that that's set up for some microblades to be taken from it. I like this especially because it looks like a horse's hoof. But this one, the folks may have just were done slicing tools because it fits so comfortably just like that, and it makes a cleaver, a really nice cleaver. Actually, it fits both ways. Fits my hand real well as a cleaver. But that is a core, hard stone, all the way down to the heart of the stone. And from cores like that, tools are made from it. It's the angles right here, the little peak. It seems like they hit here and knock these stones off, and they'll have kind of a little pyramid top shape. But these little slivers will make all kinds of little tools. Blades mostly. but sometimes those little triangle shapes will make engraving tools. Some could be points. This is, if I can find it. Oh, this one. This is a nice example of that pyramid type slice that comes off of a stone. And this is a haftable knife. Really good example of Uniface tool making. And that's what these are. These are little triangle shapes that some are thin. That could be a little spearhead or an engraving tool. Some feel like they're a knife. Thin slices of stone. It comes from the hard core. These come from a slice in that angle, and it is a knife, and it could be hafted. It's a knife, handheld or hafted. It's just this one, quite dull or never sharpened. That's what I wanted to say about, and this is just a small example. I've got lots of these micro knives, I guess is what they're called, and lots of those little bitty spent cores. Here's one. It's almost faceted like a jewel, and they put a bull on it, painted a bull. Now what's really strange to me is that these cores, here's another example of what they were used for. This is a core they've been slicing tools off from, but it's also a shallow little bowl, and it could be pushed down in the dirt or something to make a shallow little bowl. And so is this one, except its bowl is bigger. Nice deep little bowl on that core. And here's another one. That has a deep, shallow, let me get sideways on them. But these cores are made into bowls. These three. But more than that is, the stones look like they still could have tools carved off from them. So why in the world would they, every single one of them, even after they slice a tool off from them, they'll carve images in them. It's as if, and I'll show on each one of these one of these days, that every one of these, even where they've made this slice of stone on it, well, there's a lot of examples, they come back and carve an image in it. A lot of times it's an elephant. Elephants are easy to carve because you just put them on an edge. See, there's one right there. And then they slice more stone off from it. It's as if carving the animals back in it gave strength to the tools. I mean, that's just, or it's just someone fooling around, just loves to carve on stone. Bye for now, folks, before I get goofy. Now, this one's a really good example. A worked core. Really nice bird right there. And these are all that way. They've just got images all over them. And yet they still look to be workable cores. Anybody got any ideas on that? I have probably 3 times more than this many cores right now that's cleaned, and but I find them every time I dig. And I'm finding more and more there's images on them, even though they could be used for slicing more tools. This is the ones that have a shallow bowl in them. Each one has a little shallow bowl. Deep enough bowl to make me think that they did it on purpose. Some are handheld. This is really interesting core here. It's hard stone, and it's had tools sliced from it. But I think now it's just art. I don't see why anyone would slice any more tools from this. But this is the face of a bear. There's a thunderbird on his forehead. And the only crystalline looking anything on this stone was right here, and they made the bird's head as part of that little crystalline stone. And there is a bird here, and there's another bird. That's the head of the bird with both eyes, and his head is painted black. One wing comes to here, the other wing comes back into here, and his tail comes to here. It's all been pressure flaked down. I mean, that's a really neat carving. And then it accented with color. I find birds' heads a lot of times are painted black. And on the other side of this is I think it's called pectograph of a horse right there. That's been picked in there. Yeah, these cores are just awesome. Huge. And some of them are just, they're ready to make more tools from, but they're also sculptures. That's a huge bird. Awesome bird. And a bunch of other stuff on it. These are the ones I find a lot of symbols on. Now this is a core. I don't drop it off the table, but it's a core. And this is one that we cleaned up a month or two ago, and we looked at it by changing the light with all kinds of stuff that we found on it. And more stuff to probably find, I think. But these are cores. And I really need to pick out a few and go through them and show the images. And I will try to get time to do that sometime, because they are something else. Bye for now, folks.